play. I want to play in your D&D game. I want to play. I want to play in your D&D game. I want to play. I want to play in your D&D.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Dice Camera Action.
What I miss?
I am so glad you asked. So,
Carry on.
to bring everybody up to speed, in Barovia, Evelyn received the blessing of Saint Markovia, a champion of the Morning Lord who perished battling Strahd. Also in Barovia, Paulton threatened the vampire hunter Rudolf van Richten with death should he ever show his face again. Well, it turns out he did. In the company of a group of Morning Lord devotees that he persuaded the Waffle crew to kill. At the vampire hunter's urging, they slew these devotees in order to save a demon-blooded bard named Lilith Lucina. Lilith told the Waffle crew about the Soulmonger, whose death curse has taken hold of Strix and Diath, causing them to waste away because they've both died.
Did he tell us the details of that curse? Like what it all includes?
Not so much, but you'll get some of those details. Okay. But Van Richten did tell Evelyn that she alone can save her friends because she carries this blessing of Saint Markovia, and Saint Markovia is this being of protection and life. And at which point Evelyn asked the obvious question, what do I have to do? And Van Richten replied, you have to die.
And that's where we ended for the day.
Yeah.
And then Anna had to host for 2 days while thinking about that.
That just looming over.
Then Anna had to conduct an interview immediately after with Chris.
Yes.
Oh my
And just
God.
not throw him over the edge.
No, it was actually awesome. Just as a side note, Stream of Annihilation was so cool. And although I'm terrified for Evelyn's safety, I'm also super inspired as a player, and the whole event was amazing. So
Yeah.
Yay.
So in the privacy of your suite, which is located in this underground inn, you have basically a central room and then your own personal bed chambers radiating off of it. In the privacy of this domain, Van Richten tells you that the ritual he intends to cast is an old Vistani pagan ritual, and that he needs to gather some components.
Oh, not again.
So he is going to try to take care of that himself because he knows that you're supposed to have an audience with the Dwarven King. So he wants to get a jump on that. The only thing he tells you right off the bat is that he has to have 3 rings of pure gold fashioned for the ritual. 1 for you, Evelyn, 1 for you, Diath, and 1 for you, Strix. He also mentions that since the 3 of you will be tied up in the ritual, that he needs, or he asks you guys to convince Paulton, who's still sleeping off his hangover, if he will participate in the ritual and dress up as a raven. And he also asks for help in assembling a raven costume.
So Evelyn is kneeling on the floor, cradling Strix in one arm and Diath in the other arm. And Van Richten's just kind of been like, he said, you have to die. And then he's launched into like all these logistics
Yes.
of how she's going to die. So she kind of is like at first she just looks at him like, are you crazy? But as he starts talking, you can see she kind of glazes over, and this look of like acceptance kind of comes over her, and she kind of rolls her shoulders back and kind of is nodding, and she asks, you mentioned 30 days. Is there anything else we should know about the timeline of this ritual?
He tells you that he aims to get the components together as quickly as possible and to perform the ritual as soon as possible, because Diath and Strix are going to continue to deteriorate.
Will that break the curse for everyone or just for them?
So he doesn't know whether or not it will break the curse. It may stave off the curse. Essentially, it's a protection from the curse, but he doesn't know if the protection will last forever.
I don't trust him. He's barmy.
Something inside me tells me that he's right.
He has pulled out a tiny little prayer book that he carries around in one of the leather pockets of his jacket. It appears to have the symbol of the Morning Lord burned into it. And he starts flipping through pages as you're talking back and forth. And it seems like he's looking for a prayer or something.
Why would someone cast this curse just on Diath and Strix? Why would someone do this?
He doesn't have an answer for you.
Then how do you know so much about it?
He doesn't explain that either, other than to say that he's a doctor and he can diagnose just by looking at the two of them the crippling nature of their condition, i.e. healing spells aren't going to help them.
So as far as Evelyn knows, this is just something that's happening to Strix and Diath and not connected to anything else in the world.
Well, you do know Lilith, the demon-blooded bard, told you that there's this being called the Soulmonger who's doing this. That suggests that there are other people affected. Otherwise, how would she know?
And so I guess what I'm trying to get at is, does Evelyn grasp that everyone who has died is now and been resurrected is now dying again?
No.
Okay, she does not know. Okay.
You do know that it's affecting people like that, which is why you haven't been affected.
Gotcha. Okay. Evelyn just kind of nods. All right, so we need to make a raven costume.
Yes, that's one of the things he says that he needs as part of this ritual. The raven being a symbol of the creature that bears souls to safety.
Strix will kind of look down at her robes and be like, will these work?
Van Richten thinks they might work for the robes, but it's probably going to take more than that.
All right.
He shows you some old scrolls in a sort of a roped up bundle, Strix, and they're all crumpled and gnarled and stained from age, very badly taken care of them. Some have little burn marks in the corners like they've been through flame, been pulled out of fire. When you look at one, he shows you a very crude, almost childlike picture of what he had in mind, and it's this little sort of walking bipedal raven head guy with like feathers hanging from his arms.
Got it. Strix is like, oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, very sort of primitive. You also see a picture of a figure clad in a pointed hood and a long dark robe, and signs around him indicating some sort of clerical figure.
All right.
Much more ominous.
Well, Strix she can help with the costume. She'll tell him.
Okay.
At least as best as she can, but.
All right.
How are they feeling? Because I was like, they had collapsed and I was holding them. So I'm kind of like.
So how crippled are we right now?
So right now, your maximum hit points have dropped by 1. And so whatever your maximum is, it is now 1 lower. And Van Richten says the deterioration will continue until you no longer can survive.
But they're able to like move around and all of that. They're
sort of a little bit physically ill, but once they overcome that or start to sort of live with that, they can get around.
okay.
They just look really, really sick.
I'm holding them really tight, so if they want to get up out of my arms, they have to like.
Okay.
I'm not like I'm like kind of like stroking Strix's little shoulder and like holding Diaz real tight. I'm just like I'm holding them to them really, really tight.
So Paulton, when you wake up to the sound of their voices in the common room, and you're in your bedchamber, and you've just sort of woken up sober. And you hear among your friends' voices a familiar, if somewhat eerie voice of one Dr. Rudolph Van Richten.
Do I like instantly recognize that's who it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Sight unseen, you recognize it.
Do I have a relative read of like the layout outside the room, like where they'd be?
Yeah, the common room is about a 30-foot diameter square with a big open hearth and a door leading to a hallway connected to the inn proper. So there's your bedchamber is like a 10-foot by 10-foot room with a stone bed covered with a mattress. So when you pull open the door to the bedchamber, you'll be basically looking into the 30-foot square common room.
Okay. I'm going to open the door quietly and peek out.
Okay. You can see Van Richten is standing not too far from the fire with what appears to be, he's flipping through a little tiny book and reciting part of sort of mumbling to himself while the rest of the party, and occasionally like Evelyn will ask him a question or whatnot, or they seem to be talking about some sort of costume and trying to figure out where they're going to get a bunch of like raven feathers.
Okay. So, and you said he's standing?
Currently, he is standing, not too far away from a padded chair, across which you can see his cane is resting, and his bag sort of is sitting on the floor near that chair as well.
Okay. Can I? It's a little stretch, but can I cast Animate Object onto the chair?
Sure.
And would I be able to have the chair like scoot under him so it knocks him into it, and then like have the arms like Beauty and the Beast style, like just like grab his hands?
Sort of smother him in the chair a little bit?
Yeah, just like hold him there.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
So you begin to cast the spell. It's verbal and somatic components. So as you cast the spell, your friends can hear you cast it, but the spell will be cast before they can do anything, as you have surprise. All right. Yeah, you can totally do that. And the chair suddenly springs to life and is under your control and immediately tries to scooch underneath the elderly doctor. I'm just going to make a dexterity saving throw for him. Okay, he rolled a natural 1. So yes, the chair galumps over to the doctor. The doctor falls back into it, and then the arms of the chair just kind of come up and grab over him. And the rest of you see this horrifying sight of this stuffed chair springing to life, charging the doctor, taking him into its folds, and then trapping him. Do you want to do anything else, Paulton?
Now I'm going to mosey my way out there.
Okay. At this point, the doctor has let out a yelp of panic because he doesn't know what the heck's going on.
Evelyn jumps to her feet as if to help, but then sees, holding them both, by the way. She's very strong. She's holding them both. As if to help, but then sees Paulton coming and kind of like just holds and looks between the two of them.
All right. Yes, so Paulton, you have trapped the good doctor in your chair.
Cool. I'm going to walk out there and I was going to say, hey. What's going on here?
Yeah, the doctor replies, We don't have time for this.
Wasn't asking you. I'm asking the others.
Oh, me? Oh, hi, Paulton.
Oh, can I, like, as he talks, can I get the chair to, like, do another arm just covered?
Yeah.
It's like, not talking to you.
Yep.
It's like, so, who's going to explain?
Well, it's really not a big deal. Don't have to worry. It's totally fine. Just Dieth and Strix are kind of, they're not doing very well. And I kind of point to Strix's burned skin and Dieth's like rope bruised neck. And I'm like, there seems to be a curse. Van Richten says he knows how to break it. He was telling us how. And isn't it nice to see him again?
Nope.
Also, Evelyn has to die.
We're
not gonna let her die.
She's delirious.
I'm not delirious.
Don't worry. She's feeling very ill. I kind of cover her face.
And why are we listening to him?
Because he's the only one that knows how to stop these two from wasting away.
Says who?
I guess says him. But I believe him.
Great premise. Great ground.
Costume.
Excuse me.
Once he dressed as a little bird.
It's Strix. It's very fine. It's all
like a dirty.
You don't have to do anything. Just
a little dirty bird.
There's like at least 12 decisions relating to this guy I'm going to make before I decide if I'm wearing a bird costume. We're going to go ahead and put a pin in that.
No, don't do that.
I'm going to have the chair like just take the hand off his mouth so he can talk.
Okay. He doesn't actually say anything at that point because he's afraid that you might do something else to him with the chair. So he just sort of stares at you, side eye, off the top of his pink tinted spectacles.
I turn to Paulton and I'm like, if you need to know that he's telling the truth, I could cast his own truth for you while you talk to him.
No, I got better ideas to get the truth out of him.
You always do.
I'm gonna just kind of kneel down in front of him, just super douchey, condescendingly. It's like, what did I say?
He says, if I recall the conversation, you said you would kill me the next time we met.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping to stave off my demise until I could save your friends.
It's a good game you play. So why you? Why are you the one? Aside from the fact that it makes for pretty riveting plot.
He says, I am, among other things, a practicing cleric, and I know curses. I have the power to remove many of them, you see, but not this one. Not in the traditional way. You have to delve into old lore, call upon ancient prayers not used since the days of the pagan cults of the Balanok.
That's a lot of words.
He says, suffice to say, your friend Evelyn has been gifted by one of the great saints of the Morning Lord, Markovia. Her power resides in your friend. I can sense it. I plan to use Markovia's blessing to protect Dieth and Strix from the fell magic that consumes them.
Can I see if I feel like he's telling the truth?
Yes, you can make an insight check.
Okay. There. 14.
You sense that you sense an honesty about him. You also sense a reticence to divulge all of the information. He seems to be holding something back from you. you think.
So I tell him, and
You need to dress up as a giant bird.
Strix is like, yay! Paul said, I have some art already for you. She'll like rip off a chunk of her robe and like throw it at him.
Like, I'm sorry. What was that last thing?
He says,
Dirty bird.
Evelyn's just like trying to put Strix against her chest. Like, shh, shh.
She's like, the booty bird.
He says, ravens have great power.
Uh-huh. So
in matters of the dead.
So if I look like if I look like something that has power, then that's good enough.
He says, all of the components of the ritual are symbolic in some way. The rings, the costume, the finery, the words.
Okay. And why am I the raven?
He says, because of your heritage. As I said, these are Vistani pagan rituals. And you, for better or worse, have Vistani blood.
Ravens are pretty cool.
I knew one once.
She was nice. Naked a lot, but nice.
Yeah.
You sat on him.
That's a good way to put it. So, right. Okay, so this little like raven party thing sounds cool and all, but let's go back to the first conversation where you die. Why should I listen to you? Why should I let you go again? Why should I let you do your weird vampire voodoo? And we're just like, yeah, sure, that sounds fun.
He says, in response, the decision is yours. Kill me if you must.
I look to the party, I'm like, guys, I really want to kill him.
I mean, I want you to have everything in the whole world that you want, but I'm just wanting to make sure that Strix and Diath are okay. I kind of show it, both of them, to him.
So the only option is for you to die or they die? Is that what it comes down to?
I mean, that's what we were kind of trying to work out.
No
now.
one's dying.
I mean,
but I think we should at least listen to what Van Richten has to say. It's much like last time.
Yeah. He tells you that if he performs the ritual, it will essentially transfer the blessings of Markovia from Evelyn to her friends, but that the ritual comes with a price. And there is a sacrificial component to the ritual. Like many rituals, there's a sacrifice. And essentially, releasing that energy out of Evelyn will burn her up.
I kind of look at all of them and I say, I've known since I was a little girl that this moment would come. It's okay. I'm glad that it came with you.
No!
Nope.
No.
Nope. Nope. Like, what's option B? What's the option where no one dies? Except you, but none of us.
Well, I mean, I have this blessing and I can remove curses. I mean, I could try that.
Did you just, wait, hold on. I missed that. Did you just shrug at me?
Yeah, he did.
I want to punch him in the face.
Oh!
Okay.
Evelyn has that look of like, oh, I should think that that's bad, but she thinks it's very exciting.
The glasses that he repaired last week get sort of punched off askew, and one of the lenses pops out and falls into the folds of the chair, and blood begins to course down his mouth. And as it does, he sort of licks his lips and tastes his own blood again. For the first time in a while, and just sort of kind of slumps in the chair for an instant, and you can see already, because he's a pretty old man, bruising start to form around his eyes where you hit him.
This guy's so messed up.
Just really quick, just for the sake of it, Evelyn just quietly like, remove curse on Strix. Just like tries it really quick.
Yeah, you can cast the spell on Strix to no effect.
All right, well, that doesn't work. I tried it, though.
Are you still holding Strix? Are you still holding it?
I'm holding them both. In fact, because I was on the floor and then I stood up and was holding them. So I'm not tall enough to have you guys dangling, but you're probably awkwardly like.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
definitely.
Strix is trying to bite you now. She's like,
I let her go.
Dieth is like almost a foot taller than you, so he's just like really much hunched over.
She lets go of Strix and then like just kind of holds tight to Dieth, just not even like holding you up anymore, just kind of like leaning on you.
Okay.
Strix will just scuttle into a corner.
So after I clock that bitch in the face.
Yeah. just for the record, you did 3 points of damage to him. With a punch, you do 1 plus your strength bonus, so you did 3.
Great.
Cool. I tell him, I'm going to ask you one more time, what are other options where no one dies?
I know of none.
Who do you know that could know?
He says, I am very old. All of my contacts are dead. I am alone.
Every time Van Richten talks, I get sad.
Is there none other blessed by Markovia? Or whoever it was that gave...
Yeah, Dieth ate some of her.
That's different.
Is it?
Van Richten will look you right in the eye, Paulton, and say, somewhat menacingly, I am the only one.
Evelyn sees this tension and kind of like slowly lets go of Dieth and walks over, like not threateningly gets in between, not even in between, but like stands next to Van Richten and kind of like gently strokes his face and lays on hands, just like a hit point or two to kind of just like fix his face up a little bit. And she's like, my friends, I know this is hard, but this is my glorious mission. It's beautiful if you think about it. I think it'll be all right. I think we need to do what he says.
Why don't you ask Butt Hander if it's going to be all right?
Okay. He says it'll be all right.
You didn't ask him.
I did in my head.
You didn't.
Yes.
Why don't you ask him?
Paulton, you can see underneath the sort of ruffled shirt that Van Richten wears, which is so old it's kind of gone from white to yellow. You can see there is a chain around his neck. You can't see what's hanging from it because it's inside his shirt, but you do notice it the first time up close.
Am I interested in that?
It catches your eye momentarily.
I'm just going to like grab it and like pull it out of his shirt and just look at it.
Okay, you see it is a holy symbol of the Morning Lord, but an ancient one.
See, Evelyn, use that. Use that thing. Ask Butt Hander with that thing. Strix will point at it.
Well, Thander, in the light of the Morning Lord, everything will always be all right. I don't even have to ask.
Yes, you do.
Dear Morning Lord, Lord of glory and of light, who shines down upon us in your great majesty and sometimes asks your servants to make great sacrifices in the name of your holy purpose. Will everything be all right? Chris, do I feel any answer? Insight check?
She's just said no.
I roll an insight check. I get a 5, so I feel nothing.
You feel nothing. Paulton, as she's talking and you're sort of holding the holy symbol and taking kind of a bit of a look at it, the firelight in your hearth kind of shines off of it with a golden light, and it sort of flashes across your face. As it does, you see that for an instant, it looks like the shadow of Van Richten and his chair in the light kind of wavers and flickers a little bit, almost like they're not entirely in sync with this world.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And what you read from that is like it's almost unnatural that Van Richten is in this world. You can sense that all of a sudden.
So I noticed that, and I'm gonna look back at him. Like, what are you doing here?
He says, after the mists surrounding Barovia parted, many people attempted to leave, among them some worshippers of the sun god. But they were corrupt, you see. They were driven by dreams that would lead them to perform evil acts, and I had to stop them, so I followed them here. I did not know that we would unite. Had I known you were here, I wouldn't have come. But the Morning Lord has guided me to you for this reason. That is what I surmise is my purpose here. The timing would mean nothing else.
Evelyn kind of like nods and silently crosses herself in the sign of the Morning Lord.
He says, I sense that when my task is done here, so will my purpose in this world, and I will leave it one way or the other.
And am I kind of picking up that he, at this point, really is the only option?
You're picking up that he thinks he's the only option, and he thinks that it's the Morning Lord who has guided him back to Evelyn to tell her this.
See, this is how he gets you. He finds some way to be the only one and important. That's how he sticks around, son of a bitch.
Strix is in the corner now, putting together a costume for Paulton.
Yep.
Taking bits of the robe.
You're already
like,
assembling stuff?
She's making like a little wing and like just like
pulling out some handfuls of raven feathers that she's collected from
probably. Yeah. And she's just like, oh, is that it? She's like, she just wanted to do a craft.
Cool.
Evelyn, like whenever she's not talking, you can see that she's kind of like slowly listing over to lean on one of her friends or like touch one of her friends. So she was next to Paulton. So as he's talking to Van Richten, she kind of leaves his side and like goes and just like, she doesn't even try to take his hand or anything. She just like stands really close to him, like leans her shoulder on him and like listens.
As you do that, the last thing Van Richten says to you, Paulton, is, in the dawn, beauty reigns and the way is clearer. And you, Evelyn, recognize that as a old Lathander prayer.
She just nods and says, Amen.
Paulton just kind of and then I just command the chair to just kind of slowly tip back and fall on its back.
All right, yeah, he goes over with the chair, and his boots are sort of sticking up in the air now. His cane goes rolling across the floor.
And then I just, I'll release the spell on the chair.
Okay, and he sort of goes tumbling off the back of the chair onto the floor.
All right, so that's settled. We need a raven costume and...
Strix holds it up. I'm already there. I already did it.
Oh, that's so nice. How does it look?
Make a oh geez.
Like Arcana performance? I don't
performance maybe?
Let's say this is an artistic pursuit. Let's say performance.
Okay. I have nothing in that, but I have a good charisma modifier, so
Right. You can use intelligence performance. So use your intelligence modifier instead.
That doesn't really help much.
Okay.
I got 5.
Okay. Half of it sort of falls apart as she lifts it up. She was so sick she forgot to put the pins in it or something.
Oh no.
A bunch of feathers just sort of spill onto the floor. And Van Richten sort of stands up, dusts himself off a little bit, and looks over at the travesty that Strix has wrought. And
Everything's falling apart.
Yeah.
And says, "We have time."
Do we?
Last thing I'm gonna say to him, I'm just gonna kind of grab him by his shirt and just like pull him in. And I'm just like all up in his shit.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I want you to know, regardless of this outcome, doesn't change if. It only changes how. And all you've done is given me more time to think about that. Hope you're looking forward to it, buddy. I just throw him off.
Okay. He goes teetering back. And he then says, perhaps it would be best if I went and secured the other components.
Sounds good.
He looks around for his broken spectacles, finds them, casts another mending spell to fix them again, and sets them on his nose as best he can before hurrying out, grabbing his jacket on the way, and his cane.
Sorry, we always punch you.
I'm not.
During all of this, Dieth is noticeably objectionless.
Okay. At some point, the dwarven bodyguards return to your suite to see if you are ready to speak to King Harnoff.
Sure.
Since Evelyn's standing right next to Paulton, she kind of like puts her arm in his arm, like links arms, like, come on, we have to go see the king. Come on.
All right, let's follow Evelyn.
Okay. So the Waffle Crew, this time, nothing interrupts their journey to the king's throne hall.
Oh, good.
You can see Evelyn kind of like looking around her intently. Like you can see that she's really appreciating her surroundings, and she has kind of like a quiet smile on her face. She's just kind of like looking around at everything as though she won't get to look at it very much longer.
As she does that, Strix is like, are you looking for a way out too? Because we could just run.
No, and she lets go of Paulton and she grabs onto Strix.
No!
Yeah.
She doesn't let go. She keeps her arm, like they're linked arms now. And she's like, no, we don't have to go anywhere because everything we love is right here.
Oh, okay. But I would really like to go.
Soon.
When you enter the throne hall, while there are some the dwarven guards, heavily armored, standing outside the throne hall doors, there are no guards in the throne hall, as you saw last time when all the chaos happened here. But across the far side of the throne hall, you do see the king slumped in his throne, looking tragically bored, and surrounded by his advisors, including the sort of dark-skinned, orange-haired senior advisor, Azon Bronzefire. Who's very, very old and leans heavily on a short stone cane. And as you approach, your footsteps or fluttering boots echo and bounce off the walls back to you, making your approach seem much louder than it actually is. And you come toward the throne before the king, and he asks you, how goes your mission to Ironslag?
It went so well. So well. Dieth? Tell the great king how it went.
What have you learned?
Dieth kind of snaps to and like looks over at Evelyn for a second and just we quickly found that the fire giants were creating some kind of monstrous construct, untold meters high, that could have easily devastated everything around them, fueled by an adamantine heart, forged by a fire primordial.
There's a lot of dwarven murmuring at this point around the throne. The king says, you saved the life of one of our heroes, Gasper Dimmerchasm. He said there were other dwarves there. Did you find any of them?
Yeah, Yes.
Diaz takes a pause and then kind of swallows to himself and says, Jasper was the only one we could save. And is like averting his gaze elsewhere.
Right. All right. The king nods, thanks you for the information, and promises to reward you in 3 days.
In 3 days? Is that like a dwarven custom thing? Because I mean, not that we're in a super hurry, but just like who knows where we could be in 3 days, you know, where any of us could be or not be anywhere.
He says, come back in 3 days. At which point, Azon Bronzefire steps forward and says,
I demand to know what has become of my bodyguard, Crack.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Azon, because I think myself, everyone else here, and especially the king, would love to know why you're conspiring against him.
Mic drop!
You see more loud murmuring. Azon, eyes wide, taken aback, almost loses, actually probably drops his cane at that point. There's a ka-dunk, ka-dunk, ka-dunk on the floor, heavy stone. The dwarf king sort of shoots you a gaze that's almost, you're not sure what the dwarf king is thinking in that moment.
Just for like extra flair, right as DS dropped that, I take out my bagpipes and rig it in a very special way so that it just kind of goes. Tell him.
DF will continue, and as he's giving all the information to the king, but he is just staring at Azon while he's saying all of this. Well, the conversation is actually directed at that. Within the halls of the fire giants stood an iron golem, one that could be commanded and used for destruction, and was somehow within the grasp of the fire giants, perhaps even delivered. And inside of that was but a sigil of the Bronzefire clan.
And me, I was inside of him too.
Paul was there too. Your bodyguard was not here or sent for the benevolence of all Citadel Adbar. He was only sent to cover your own ass.
Also, he was a djinn.
You have spoken ill of my...
And he turns to the king and says,
Not true. Lies.
Oh no, it's definitely true.
the king turns to Azon and says,
We will look into that.
Until then, King, I can only suggest that you keep yourself under extra protection, only trusted guards, and keep Azon here
And
under
Jasper.
strict watch or quarantined.
Hang out with Jasper. He's nice.
yes. You see a couple other advisors kind of push in front of Azon a little bit closer toward the king and offer their clan services for protection. And you can see instantly a lot of sort of political things sort of happening in the dwarves in this moment. Azon, he hasn't been able to muster any kind of response, and he's trying to talk to the king, but the other advisors are talking over him now. And so there's a lot of dwarven chatter. And you see Azon just sort of kind of melt into the background a little bit. Obviously, his voice isn't going to carry over those of his peers. Even though he's the senior advisor, you can see others asserting themselves like they haven't before. And suddenly he becomes very despondent.
I'll even point out to the king that Azon was the first to retreat when the throne room was ambushed. Almost as if he knew.
He says,
It is clearly a slanderous statement.
and his voice is still being muffled by some of the other dwarves. And he's giving his assurances to the king that the golem, if it were a Bronzefire construct, must have been stolen. It could have been stolen in some ancient war.
I bow and I say, Your Majesty, if you would like, I may aid you in the search for truth.
And the king turns to you and says, do you have any proof? Any way to corroborate your statements?
Well, I can make sure that he's telling you the truth, that's all.
Diath, you can make an insight check.
All right.
Also, Strix will like point to the like flask in her robe at Diath and be like, I don't know, it's right there. He goes and she's like, okay, let's take it back in.
Oh, that's a good insight. 17.
So, helped somewhat by Strix, you know that if a creature is released from the iron flask, it must obey you for an hour.
Right. The problem is
Oh.
He just has kind of a thing about releasing things from the flask.
right. I just would rather not release.
No, but he has to obey us for an hour. It's fine. I'll open it.
Then what after the hour?
What? We'll put him back in before the hour's over.
Yeah, but it's harder to put him back in.
I kind of stand in front of them and I'm like, great king. I'm just like,
we're like bickering back and forth.
trying to distract him.
I'll shake the bottle. I'm like, look, I gave him a good shake. At this point, Strix just has it out.
Yep.
She just like has forgotten that it's supposed to be hidden. And she's like holding it out and be like, well, just let him out.
Does the king see all this, or did I distract him?
You have distracted him. You, coupled with various other dwarves shouting in his ear, and Azon trying his best to get the king's attention and assure him that the bronze fires have not made golems in aeons.
All right. Strix
Fine.
doesn't like this. She'll
All right.
open the flask.
All right, when you open the flask, everybody stops talking as sand begins to spill out of the neck of the flask onto the floor in front of you and coalesce and take the form of an 8 or 9 foot tall stone-skinned man with eyes of molten gold.
Yeah, Strix will just point at him and be like, yeah, you Burks, remember the dwarf in the armor? Well, he wasn't a dwarf, he was a djinn, and he's really tall and was super mean.
Very mean.
He's the worst.
And Kaharik, you tell them what you were doing there.
All right.
Just accusatorily.
Kaharik will tell the king in his booming voice that he was sent. Well, he looks at you, Strix, and he doesn't want to say anything, but he's sort of forced to.
She's like,
So he's kind of scowling at you the whole time he's talking. So he just scowls at you and tells the king that I was sent into the mountain to find the iron golem built by Clan Bronzefire and see it safely brought here without anyone knowing about it. A gift to the fire giants of old. A token of their ancient alliance. And of course, the whole room just erupts to the sound of this testimony. And Azon Bronzefire is just horrified.
I look over at him. Oops.
And Kaharik sort of gestures to Azon Bronzefire, says, yes, I know that I am your thrall, and that this task would have ensured my freedom, but this iron flask, it's irresistible. There's just no way I can lie.
Kaharik, simply listen to us, and we will ensure your freedom.
Go on.
One step at a time.
He says, when he hears you say that, he turns to the king and he says, there was some rune inscribed on the inside of the golem, which had the Bronzefire insignia on it. That is how I knew it was the right one.
Sounds like proof to me.
Strix just like,
All right. The king, entirely convinced by this compelled testimony, will have the two of the advisors go off and ring the gong to summon the guards so that they can take Azon Bronzefire into custody for questioning. And that basically happens before you. Guards come in.
Nice.
King points to Azon Bronzefire, has him taken away. The old man is hauled off unceremoniously as the other dwarven advisors cozen up to the king's throne.
All right, can I hold the flask back up to Kaharik and be like, unless you want to negotiate your freedom with us, get back in, stony butt. Xerith.
He says, "This is most uncut." Back in the flask he goes.
Stick it back in my robe.
Giggling to yourself.
This is great. By the way, he has to pay attention to us for an hour, so we can let him out whenever we want. Then we go play things.
Yeah, is that a cumulative hour or one whole hour every time we release
I'm
him?
hoping it's a whole hour.
Because I think we spent like a good 7 minutes just now.
Yeah.
Strix is like, wait, what if it is cumulative?
Didn't he know that? That was his insight, so he would know, right? Does he know which one it is?
Which one? What is?
Whether it's cumulative hour or an hour every time we let him out.
If you understand the way the mechanism works as it was described to you by your drow friend Cozen, when you release him, he is bound to serve you for an hour.
There.
Oh, all right.
It's dead stop.
So we get an hour every time of his time until we get tired of him, and then he will haunt us to the ends of the earth to kill us. But as long as he stays in there, it's fine.
Correct.
It's like we have a real genie.
It's true.
Do you think the genie might be blessed by Saint Markovia?
No.
Probably not. Okay, you're right. Probably not.
It's a nice thought.
Yeah. So your business concluded with the king and his demand that you return to him in 3 days. He reiterates that as you leave. I'd like everybody to make an insight check.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
16.
Ooh,
Good roll.
4.
11.
15.
Okay. Paulton and Strix, you both sense that the king, he is very uncomfortable at the moment. Something is concerning him deeply, and you think that he has something important to tell you, but he's not ready to tell you yet.
Can I look at him and say, do you want to hang out later and get some tea?
3 days.
You sure you don't want any tea? You can come to our room in the inn.
Can I look at him and persuasively
Don't tell me to do it.
say, if there's something more you need to tell us, we're homies.
Make a persuasion check.
Can I give a winning smile next to him to aid his persuasion check?
Yes. And so you have advantage on your check.
All Strix is just like, do you want some dirty tea?
That'd be a 17.
All right.
Nice.
The king will take the unprecedented step of dismissing his advisors. They all, with shock and horror, and then he gets frustrated with them and literally banishes them from the room. And after the last of them have retreated through secret doors behind the throne, he says to you, now in the empty hall, except for you and him, that he actually leans in because he thinks, almost as if he thinks there's like magical scrying sensors in the room that don't want to hear him. He sort of has you come as close to him as possible. To gather around the throne. And he says,
Sup?
I am not really the king.
I'm sorry.
What? I am not King Harnoth.
That's kind of awesome.
King Harnoth died during the Silver Marches. They placed me on the throne to keep everyone calm.
You're doing a good job.
I'm not calm.
He says, I'm going to need your help in 3 days.
Well, us too.
God forbid.
He says, I think someone is plotting to kill me.
I thought we just took care of that guy.
He
Damn
says, the royal guards, the ones who turned on me, they were taken down into the dungeons and confined there. He found them all. They were dead in their cells. We don't know what killed them, but they were torn up by claws and teeth.
Cool.
Great. Okay. Cool. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Who are you really then?
He says, I am a creature called a doppelganger.
Oh God. Oh, gross.
He says, while I'm sitting here on the throne, I plan to use my power to whatever advantage I can to help you.
But
I'm having,
doppelgangers are bad.
he says, I'm having letters of recommendation written for you and medals crafted in your honor. If there's anything I can do, let me know. But in 3 days, I'm going to need your help.
So, like, what if two of us are, like, kind of dying?
He says, what?
Do you happen to be blessed by Saint Markovia?
Strix is still throwing up next to the.
I don't
Diaz
know
will,
what
like,
that is.
pat her back.
All right.
Evelyn's holding her hair back.
Oh no.
He says, in 3 days, a delegation from Yartar arrives. I think that might be cover.
Okay.
What do you want us to do?
Don't do anything and don't tell anybody. Come back in 3 days.
Got it.
So what's there to do around here for 3 days?
Bolton.
What?
Are you asking him for Rex?
I don't know.
He says, oh, there's good drinking.
All right, we'll be fine.
Do you need all 4 of us back, or will 3 of us work?
As many
All of
as
us
you
are
can
coming
spare.
back.
Okay, that's good. Can you make yourself look like just anybody?
He says, yes, I'm very good at imitating others of roughly my size. He says, what about you? Are any of you good at imitating other people?
Strix is like, I am.
Oh, do me.
He sort of takes Strix by the hand and says, I will need your help most of all.
Oh, is his hand like slimy? I expect doppelgangers to be slimy.
He feels like a dwarf.
Okay, well, she feels
Fine.
better about that.
So he's got sort of scratchy hands.
Okay, she's like, okay.
What do you need her for? Why her? You be gentle with her.
Yeah, I'm sick.
He says, well, if you are willing to help me in 3 days, one of the things I could use is someone to take my place.
That is a terrible idea.
Oh, she's real good at that. One time she imitated this vampire lord Strahd. It was so convincing.
He turns to you, Strix, and says, you'll get to be the king.
Like, yeah, you get to be the king. That's cool.
Wait, but where are you going? Why can't you keep being the king?
Because I don't want to be killed.
Oh, they're gonna kill me.
Wait. Yeah, I don't want her to be killed either.
But you have prevailed in this mission and managed to get back from the fire giants. Surely you are much more capable of dealing with this than I am. And I can't let my advisors know what I've told you.
Okay.
He says, think about it.
Oh, we will.
3 days.
Bye. We're
Wait,
leaving.
Wait, how many days?
As soon as Diaz says bye, we're leaving, Strix just takes off like.
All right. And your audience concludes.
As we leave, Evelyn is very much shorter than Diaz, as Diaz mentioned. So Evelyn kind of grabs him around the waist. She's doing that thing where you're walking with somebody and just kind of hanging on them as they walk. She's like, that was real good. That that you did such a good job of like giving those speeches and telling people what we did. That was great.
As we're leaving, I'm just like, it was nice meeting with you, King. And I like give him a little yeah. Okay, we'll see you in 3 days.
All right. As you head out and make your way back to the Hammered Dwarf, the inn where you're staying, you can tell as you're moving back through the crowds and being led by your escort that ever since the advisors retreated from the room, word of your deeds up at Mount Hammerhast have already echoed through the complex, and Diath's tale is now being spun and told and passed along among the dwarves. And dwarves that may have just kind of given a nod, they sort of come up to you and pat you or smile at you, give you thumbs up. They hold their mugs up to you as you pass, and all in all, a very kind of happy procession.
Lathander, bless you. Yes, blessings in the light of the morning, Lord. Yes, may he shine upon you.
I do not reciprocate their enthusiasm.
Okay.
Yeah, Strix is just like,
I'm just like, oh, this is not gonna last.
And then like Paulton, every once in a while, like somebody will just hold a full mug of beer up in front of you.
It's like, oh, thank God.
You drink it, and then you're like, you're trying to pawn off the empty one. Suddenly, it's taken from your hand, and another one is stuffed in your hand.
It's like, guys, we're gonna be okay. It's 3 days of this. Maybe I'll just die before that.
By the time you get back to the Hammered Dwarf, I'd like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay.
Does anyone offer any of the rest of us beer?
Oh yeah, everybody's sticking beer in everybody's faces.
That would be an 11.
Okay. Paulton is unconscious, and you're kind of dragging him by the time you get back to the inn.
Evelyn tried to so at first she wasn't paying any attention to this alcohol being shoved in their faces, but then Paulton seemed to be having such a good time and she really wanted to hang out with Paulton. So she took one and she kind of was sipping it, and then she took another. And so she's had 3 beers, which for Evelyn is a lot. So
Yes.
I take note of this, and before I hit the ground, I'm like, hey, don't be like me.
Evelyn just kind of stares at him
I think Strix was going to take one, but then she realized that she didn't want it, but she took one of the old cultist heart out that she ended up taking off the ground and just putting it in someone's beer. It's like, here you go.
Oh, gross. Okay.
Just walked away.
All right, so there's a marinating heart.
Yeah.
Beer marinated heart.
Mhm.
All right.
Evelyn just kind of gets really close to Strix. She's like, "You're so pretty." I'm gonna miss you.
Strix is like, please stop.
Okay.
You're not going to die.
We all die.
No. I mean, technically,
In the light of the morning, Lord,
No,
we
it's
are
fine.
but given a breath.
I hate this.
technically, I wonder what Lathander looks like. Do you think he's just like?
I think he's so pretty. I think he must look
Is that why you worship Lathander? Because you think he's pretty?
No.
Oh my God, it totally is.
He's the source of all light. How would I see how pretty you are without light?
Usually people would say that I'm pretty without light, yes.
Can we just get back to the inn, please?
Yeah, you're back to the inn, and you're able to kill a fair amount of time there. In the course of a few days pass, a couple more days pass, and Diath and Strix, your hit point maximum drops by 1 each day, so 2 total.
Evelyn went on a mysterious errand during that time and came back.
Oh, okay. All right.
Huh.
And Evelyn, you've also been receiving progress reports on the construct that you have wanted Simon rebuilt.
How's the progress?
Master Flamebane won't show you the work while he's working on it, but his assistants assure you that they say in confidence to you that he was inspired by your beauty and has sort of redoubled his efforts, and he plans to have it finished sooner than expected.
How soon?
They don't.
Nice.
He's being very secretive, and They're not even allowed in his workshop at this point. They can hear him, though, hammering, making noises, assembling things. But every time he takes a break for food or whatever, he just says that when he met you, it's like you had an aura around you, and he was struck by it. And he, in his mumbly way, can't get you out of his mind.
Aww. Evelyn thinks that's just the sweetest.
Yeah.
Trying to get that 5-star. Damn.
Yelp-a-yar.
Yelp-yar.
Cool. So I guess is there a way that are they going to send me a messenger when it's done?
Yes.
Okay.
Strix will also finish the Raven costume as she's.
Yes, you make another intelligence performance check.
Okay, and see if we get better this time.
Yeah.
Oh well, great, cool. 20.
Yeah, you made a fabulous costume. You got like a stuffed head with a big long raven beak that he can wear, big feathers, and coming off him, big black feathered gown essentially, and probably some little claws he can wear.
Well, I'll hand it to him. Make one eye is winking, and she's like, "I made it winking for you."
So you can only see out of one eye, Paulton.
Can only turn this way. Evelyn, throughout all of these little activities, you just notice that she's like extra clingy. Like she's always holding on to somebody or like looking at somebody, and she's just like that little dog or cat that like won't leave you alone. It's just always staring at you like, "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you."
Van Richten, there's like a montage where you're doing that, and the costume is being set on Paulton's head. Van Richten is having dwarves make these perfect little ring bands of gold. He's securing costuming stuff and incense, and he says that he is ready to perform the ritual on the very next morning. He secured a turret in the fortress of Citadel Adbar that has windows looking out to the east so that the dawn can shine through during the ritual, and he's had dwarves provide the necessary furnishings. So this will be your last night, Evelyn.
Evelyn, you can see that she has kind of this smile like this on all the time, but she's uncharacteristically somber. She's not really saying much. She's just kind of like staring lovingly at everybody. She says, "Well, I guess it's time for bed."
You're not going to die.
Van Richten doesn't actually sleep and stay with you guys. He just drops by periodically to give you updates. He's staying somewhere else at the inn so he doesn't have to cross paths with Paul and get attacked by more furniture.
Before he leaves, I ask him for details about the ritual, like what will be required of me.
So what will be required of you is you will lie on a beer, a stone beer, not B-E-E-R, but B-I-E-R. Your two friends will be in chairs on each side of the beer. All three of you will be wearing golden rings. There will be cups of morning dew set about, and a stained glass window rigged so that colored light of dawn will shine upon you. Van Richten will have his outfit on and his holy symbol of the Morning Lord. Paulton will be standing next to him, and while Van Richten utters the chants, the Vistani chants of the ritual, Paulton will also chant alongside him a refrain: "In the dawn, beauty reigns, and the way is clearer." That is the way to the afterlife.
In the dawn, beauty reigns, and the way is clear. That's that same prayer, right?
That's right. And so basically, you will just have to lie there, Evelyn, and be prepared to let the blessing of Saint Markovia leave you. At various points, you will be asked to impart this blessing to your friends, and then sometime thereafter, you will expire.
Okay. So there's no like weapon involved or definitive moment. There's just
no.
I will be transported to the light.
Yes.
Evelyn kind of takes all this with a very clinical, like, She kind of clears her throat a lot of times while she's asking these things, but she's like, okay. And then upon, she's very clinical about it. And having heard all that,
yep.
I don't know. I guess she asks everybody else. Does anybody else have any questions about the ritual?
No, this is not okay, Diaz. This is not okay. Why aren't you talking, Diaz? It's not okay.
Because Diaz dreamed about dwarves turning to ash last night.
Oh, Walton, this is not okay. You can't let this happen. We can't let this happen. I don't care if I'm sick. I'm fine. I can do magic. I know magic. Strix is obviously panicking.
And this will happen she kind of ignores, Strix panicking is totally normal. Doesn't
Yeah. A couple hours before dawn, you'll travel to the east side of Citadel Adbar to the chamber, and there you'll be sequestered. Now, Jasper Dimmerchasm, Van Richten sort of ran into him out in the inn and talked the dwarf into not disturbing you guys because he knew how sick you were and how kind of out you were. But Jasper expressed an interest in overseeing the ritual to make sure everything goes smoothly. And Van Richten reluctantly conceded.
Wait, why?
Reluctantly?
No, why does Jasper want to be there? Why does he want to see this?
Because he feels he owes you something, says Van Richten. He's trying to be helpful, and he can't be, so, he can stand by and watch.
All right, I mean...
If you don't want him there, I can make him stand out. Van Richten says, I can make him stand outside.
It's fun.
Is Waffles with us, too?
Yeah, she's been capering around and eating stuff and...
All right.
Yeah. Pooping.
Strix points at her and is like, you can't leave your child.
She only poops in Strix's bed, so it's okay.
I mean, that's the smelliest one.
Strix doesn't notice. She's like a cat who pees on things she's not supposed to.
Ew. So Evelyn kind of gets all this down and she's kind of
yeah. You've noticed it's hard to tell with Strix because of the nature of the tiefling skin tone, but you can see that Diaz has got little lesions forming on his skin on this after 3 days of deterioration.
Okay, well, when do you guys all want to get up in the morning to head over to the place?
We're not doing this.
Turret. I don't see how we could not.
I don't either, but we can't do this.
Time to run?
No, I don't think we can run from this.
We could for 27 days.
She looks at them all and she says, do you guys know about my oath, my paladin oath, the oath of the ancients?
Some about Morning Light and Lathander. Really, a lot of it just kind of blurs together.
Strix is just covering her head on the ground, not listening anymore.
Well, there's quite a bit to it, but one part of my oath calls me to be the light. And that means to be the glorious beacon for all who live in despair, to let the light of my joy and courage shine forth in all of your deeds. And I think I'm being called to show that joy and courage right now. I've known since I was a little baby that I was going to be called for something like this. And what better way to die than in the service of the people you love the most?
That's bullshit.
Well, it may be, but I think I need to be alone for a little while. I'll meet up with you guys before dawn back here. And she kind of just goes, and she's looking for a rooftop. She just goes looking for a rooftop to sit on by herself.
Okay, so Citadel Adbar is entirely underground, but
so she tries to go above ground.
Yeah, so you can basically find a way out and then perch on a turret on the sort of rocky mountainside and sort of look down upon the great stone causeway that leads from the gates of Citadel Adbar down to the ground. And a couple birds fly by, but nobody disturbs you up here.
You kind of notice, because as she says those things, she has a big smile, but you can kind of see the cracks forming in that in her face. And when she excuses herself, it's obvious that she's like, I need to go for a minute. And then she just leaves.
Okay.
Okay, hear me out.
Are you
What
talking to
if-
me?
I guess.
Yeah.
You're still here?
Strix is like just standing there like, what? Listen, I have a spell that can help us. It's a spell that I just learned. It's called Death Ward.
Can I like? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It means she won't die.
Will that actually work in a ritual setting?
I don't know, but I know magic.
Could I like stealth follow Evelyn?
Sure. Make a stealth check opposed by Evelyn's perception check.
Which is horrible, as we all know.
While they're making sense, Strix is like, DF, maybe you can throw up some blood or something and I can put it in another potion and then that can be Markovia's blood.
Right,
Right?
hear me out. The ritual said they just need someone blessed by Markovia, right?
Yeah.
I literally have Markovia inside of me. Am I not blessed?
I don't know, man. I don't know that kind of magic.
Right, so what if instead of Evelyn, I go on the table instead, and then that way you'll at least be okay, and then Evelyn doesn't
She's
have to go
not
through
gonna
this for
let
us.
us.
I won't let her.
Oh.
Sorry, Paulton, what was your roll?
18.
And-
6.
Okay. So Paulton, you are able to shadow Evelyn all the way outside the citadel and see her find purchase in the most awkward place. So if you want to get closer, you have to do some climbing and scampering, but you get unseen.
Okay.
She just finds a place to sit, and she kind of like, you can see her, pull her knees up and wrap her arms around her knees and just kind of look around and look to the sky, and she's kind of humming.
The day is fading into night gradually as Evelyn is doing this.
And she's watching the sun, and she keeps humming the same tune over and over, this like what sounds like a sacred hymn.
After just like a couple minutes, I'm just like probably however many feet behind, just kind of
You hear
She like sits up without turning around, and
I'm
then
just-
kind of bows her head and doesn't say anything.
I'm just gonna walk over and like sit next to her, but like just still looking out. I just ask her, like, so this is what's happening.
She has been hiding her face, but she turns to Paulton and tears are just streaming down her face. Like you've never seen her face so wet, and she just looks at him and nods. She doesn't even try to say anything.
This is stupid. Like, no. If it were someone else, like if someone else had told us this, maybe. But I cannot justify this coming from that asshole.
She kind of looks at Paulton and she kind of like smiles just a tiny bit, like watery-eyed, weak smile. She reaches up and just brushes some hair out of his eye, and then she kisses him.
It's like,
And she says, "It'll be okay. This is what I was meant for."
it's like, you will be okay. But that's not what's going to happen.
What is going to happen? She kind of just like is starting to laugh and like look at him lovingly.
Oh, no. But I don't see this as the only option.
Well, we're getting kind of short on time.
You said what, like 21 days, something like that? I think we got more time.
The ritual's tomorrow.
It's like,
Or
okay.
right, she looks around. She's like, today even, because it's the wee hours. And she says, look, I need you to look after Simon. He's going to be fine. And so are you. And he needs to grow up just like you.
It's like, wait, what now?
Simon. You know, our son.
I wasn't aware of the repair, right?
She had done it surreptitiously.
Okay. It's like, yeah, the one that was.
I'd hope to surprise you, but he's being repaired right now by the best mechanic robot man that dwarves have to offer, and I know we can bring him back just the way he was. I know that Strix can do it. I can do it. Hopefully he's back real soon, and I need you to teach him. And also there's an armorer that I talked to, and I asked him that once I'm gone, maybe he could take my breastplate and my bracers, and he could make them into some armor for Simon, and maybe when he's old enough, you could give it to him.
I'm a little unsure of how robot aging works, but
well, I don't want him fighting before he's capable. You don't let him get into battle before he's at least, I don't know, 12 years old in robot years.
Okay.
Strix, are you guys going to retreat, like go back inside when it gets kind of cold and icy out here?
I'd imagine that we're in whatever room just spouting
We're just arguing.
dead end ideas at each other.
Strix is like shoving stuff, like trying to shove Dieth's hand into a bottle. Like, maybe if we just put a little bit of you in here.
I'm like, oh wait, I got a better idea.
So nobody sleeps that night, but
hold on, before Evelyn doesn't go inside. She wants to stay out there for a while.
Okay.
But before she does, she kind of just like, they're both sitting there. She leans her head on Paulton's shoulder and she asks, "Will you sing for me one last time?"
Sure. I'll play a little song. What do I have? Bagpipes don't seem appropriate.
She actually, when you start to look around for an instrument, she actually pulls out those panpipes. She's only tried to play in front of you one time. She kind of looks at them and she's like, "I was never much good at this anyway," and she hands them to you.
All right. So you sort of grab these sort of shitty panpipes. It's like, oh, something. If you want to, you can make a performance check.
Sure.
That's good.
Oh God, what if a bad?
Yeah, Evelyn thinks it's lovely anyway.
Right. Yes.
Total 20.
Great. Yeah, it's a wonderful song, Evelyn. It's a song you'll treasure and remember for the rest of your
Wow. little soon.
Yeah, I'm such a bastard. All right. It's the best song you've ever heard.
It's actually, I think, it's probably the hymn to Sunshine, which is what she was humming to herself. And he probably knew that song. It's just about like looking to the morning Lord and trusting him and pledging your soul to him so that he can remake you over and over again in a shining image of his glory. But once he does that, she kind of like takes a deep breath and she looks at him and she nods and she says, let's go back inside.
All right. You find Strix and Dieth just dead. They killed each other.
That's it.
Problem solved itself.
Just kidding. All right. So you have an unrestful wee hours of the morning, mere hours before you are due to convene.
Evelyn starts like just unpacking her pack. Yep. And she's like, all right, Dieth. Here, she takes off her boots. She's like, "You definitely need these. It'll help. I promise." She hands him the boots. She
holds them with weak arms.
Yeah.
And then she takes her 2 javelins that are left, and she's like, 2. I kept 2. Here you go. She gives it to him. And then she takes out the bag of Lightfall. It's just shards. And she was like, I don't know what to do with this, but you've always done a real good job of making something beautiful out of a whole lot of broken pieces. And I know you're going to keep doing that. And she hands him the bag of broken Lightfall. She's like, I don't know, maybe it'd make some real nice daggers for you or something. It is blessed by the Morning Lord, after all.
All right. He'll take it and he's like just looking straight down the entire time with no words.
Okay.
Then she turns to Strix.
Who's stuffing things in a jar, like, does this work? She's like taking parts, like just putting it in there. She's like poured some wine in there. It's like she's shaking it around.
She also, right before, she's like, oh yeah, and she like hands Dia basically the rest of her armory, like just like, oh yeah, and I don't know, just do whatever with this stuff. So this is like a short sword that she picked up somewhere.
What?
Yeah, she did a little while ago, and also a hand crossbow.
Wait, what?
And and she also gives you the heart of Spinelli, the flame sword.
It falls over. I'll fall over. Oh god.
And she's like, you might want to give this to Jasper. I don't know, but it's real special. You do what's best with it. Anyway, she hands him the armor. Then she turns to Strix. She gives Strix, like, she has some jewels and stuff that they picked up in the Yak village that are real pretty, and she gives her like this incense that she picked up there, like a whole bunch of little trinkets. You know,
when she hands her the incense, she's like, do you say I smell bad?
I mean, you do, but that's not why.
Oh.
I just thought you'd like it.
All right.
I like your bad smell. I always have.
Oh, that's gross.
She also pulls out this this book, and it's a book about etiquette. It's a book about manners. It's just this little tiny dog-eared book, and she's like, "This was given to me by my mother. It's real special, and let me show you." And she opens it up, and there's a 4-leaf clover pressed in there, and she's like, this is where all my luck comes from. And she closes it and she's like, now I want you to have it. She gives her that.
She hands her the book, and as soon as she does, Strix opens it up, grabs the 4-leaf clover, and shoves it into the potion and hands it to her and says,
Evelyn is like shocked, but she's kind of like,
drink it now!
There's no liquid in there, it's just like rattly with shit in it.
She kind of like holds it and she's like, just a minute. And she sets it down.
Oh, I forgot Strix forgot to spit in it. So.
And then Evelyn pulls out Juniper, and Juniper's actually napping because Juniper is always she's a little fat little mouse, and she kind of kisses Juniper, and Juniper kind of wakes up, and Evelyn just like scratches behind her little ear, and then she holds Juniper out to Strix, and she's like, just nods and hands it to her.
Okay. Strix will take Juniper and be like, you're getting this back after you come back in like a second, and stop talking to pretty boy butt-hander.
And as soon as when she takes Juniper, I'm like, you take care of them. You take care of Stinky and Strix. Juniper's like, ah.
Oh. She'll disappear into her robes, like God only knows what's in there.
And so then she turns to Paulton.
Nope.
And she the one thing that she didn't give Dieth is Treebane, because it's the coolest thing she has. She thinks. So she hands that to Paulton ceremoniously.
If you have this elven axe, Paulton.
Yeah. She's like, this is for you. And she's like, and also you need to go to Mr. Frank's robot shop.
Master Tyrone Flamebane.
Yes, Master Tyrone Flamebane. Real soon, there's a messenger that's going to come. He's going to tell you that Simon's ready, and you go pick up our son. He's going to be there. And don't forget what I said about my armor. So I take off my armor and I hand that to him too.
Yep.
He has tons of stuff. And then I also, I wear this signet ring of my family, like my noble family. And I don't say anything, but I just kind of take that off and I just kind of like put it in his hand and close it.
And while she's doing this, Strix is going to walk up behind her and cast the Deathlord spell.
Do I notice?
So, yeah. Well, yeah, it's a verbal somatic component spell. So, yeah, you would notice we cast the spell on you. Now, Holly, you know that if the target drops to 0 hit points, this would prevent them from actually dropping to 0 points, and they drop to 1. But if the target is subjected to an effect that would kill it without dealing damage, the effect is instead negated against the target.
Strix probably knows that, but she's just hoping it's going to work.
Okay.
So you're negating any effect that would happen to me.
Negating the ritual, basically.
Oh wait, no, she doesn't want to negate the ritual. No, I thought it was just like she's just doing it to help. All right, never mind. I won't do it.
So once Evelyn's done all that, like she's kind of again kept this like the cheery Evelyn face on, but this is starting to get really real. So you see her eyes are a little bit wide, and she's kind of like breathing deep and like trying not to crack. So she's like, here, and she pulls out letters that she wrote to each of Strix, Dieth, and Paulton, and she hands it to them, and she's like, okay, anyway, now that that's done, it's time to be the light. Let's go.
All right. You guys pack away your letters?
Yeah.
Don't read them now. Read them later. It's just this little something.
Okay. Up in the turret, you can see everything has been laid out. There is a stone bier upon which Evelyn is to lie, and two big, heavy stone chairs that sort of swallow Dieth and Strix up by their size and volume, standing on each side of the bier. There is light just beginning to shine through windows in the top of the turret, and stained glass has been fitted into the windows, creating a kaleidoscope of colors on the stone walls and floor around you. You can see that these windows have been specially crafted to bear symbols of the sun and other motifs of the Morning Lord, including images of babies and other newborn creatures like fawns and ducklings. And,
an owl bear?
And baby owl bear and stuff like that. That's a good question. Did you want Waffles to be here for the...
Yeah, of course.
No.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Waffles loves you.
That's why she shouldn't see this. No child should grow up with an image like this of their mother.
All right.
Waffles waits outside the door.
Jasper can watch Waffles outside the room.
There you go.
He's helping. And you take good care of her. You teach her how to be good and strong.
Van Richten is practically unrecognizable when he arrives. He's wearing a full golden robe with a gold-pointed hood that covers everything but his eyes, and he's got goggles strapped over that. They're like sun goggles. They're tinted. And he also hands a pair of sun goggles to Paulton to put on underneath his raven head.
This sounds a little mad scientist-y.
It does seem a little mad scientist-y. But when he starts...
I'm afraid.
When he starts chanting Evelyn, make a religion check.
Am I laying down already? I'm there?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
You're there.
Uh-oh. I cannot roll to save my life today. That's a 10.
Okay. To you, the chants of Van Richten seem legit. They hearken back to things you heard as a child growing up in the faith. But they seem much older and a little bit antiquated in their language. But as he speaks them, the light of the dawn becomes increasingly intense until it's so bright it practically fills the room. And the rings that three of you have slipped on your finger begin to catch that light and glow. And suddenly, springing from Evelyn, out of her, are radiant beams of light that wash over both Dieth and Strix. And despite the fact that it's blinding and you guys, it doesn't seem to affect you two at all. This is a warm, welcoming light that seems to soak into your body.
Can I reach both of their hands from where I'm laying?
Yes, your tiny little arms can stretch out, and they can stretch out their withering hands to grab yours.
I just hold it.
Grabs it.
Yeah.
I just hold and look at them lovingly and put on a strong face.
Okay.
Strix will grab it too, but be sad.
Evelyn, when you do, you can feel Markovia's blessing just sort of well out from you in a very kind of, like you just let it go. And as it goes, you can feel it going into your friends. And suddenly, you find yourself flying through the ether on the back of Morning Glory. And
like literally, I was like crying, and then she feels Morning Glory. She goes, because she has someone that she knows and loves. She holds on tight.
Yes, and as you fly toward the light on Morning Glory, you see three resplendent figures waiting for you ahead. One of them is an old man, and you can see that he has sort of gold and white locks, and he has a staff with the symbol of the sun on top, and he looks like a divine cleric of some kind, a saint. And you remember vaguely in Barovia, in places like Argynvostholt and the church of the village of Barovia, seeing this man identified as Saint Andral. On the other side, you see what you know instinctively as Saint Markovia, a warrior woman, a paladin who's wearing full armor and has her a big hammer hanging beside her. You can see she's missing one of her legs, but can stand perfectly fine on the one that remains. And she's got a warm, inviting smile. And between them, you see the Morning Lord himself. And in his arms, he's got a little baby that he's just sort of couching, and he is a absolutely stunningly gorgeous man, not old, not young, just sort of ageless. And he seems to be waiting you while cradling this child. And it's at that point when horrible black tendrils rip you off of morning glory and bear you toward the black gaping maw of a great green devil face. Paulton.
What?
You find yourself traveling in the ether as well. The last you heard, you were standing in the room next to Van Richten going, this isn't going to work, this is stupid. Oh, light, oh my God. And you can't even drink because the big raven head's on your face. But in a moment, you were just sort of transported to the ether and kind of flying behind her. You can only see through one eye, but you think you are actually in the ether, and you see her being stolen away by these dark tendrils that are bearing her into the gaping mouth of this green devil face. And it looks like the divine beings are reaching out for her, but she's being torn away too fast.
So am I just kind of like floating here? Do I have any kind of like control, or?
You feel like you've been changed into a black bird, some sort of spirit bird.
So I feel like I can like fly around and
yeah.
I guess so.
You see, you've got sort of big hooked claws.
I'm gonna freaking dive bomb and go after her.
All right, I would like you to make a let's call it a charisma check. Okay. Since you're not actually here, you're just here in spirit. And Evelyn, as you're being pulled away, you can see what appears to be a raven, a black raven descending toward you with its claws outstretched. Make your charisma check.
I did.
Lie.
Oh, I'm not going to lie because it's right there. Oh my God.
Something bad didn't happen.
All right. Somehow this bird manages to pull you free of the tendrils, Evelyn, and you sort of go flying away from the dark face. And you see just the evil menace of the devil face gets farther and farther away as you are thrown off. Halton, find yourself suddenly, as you, dressed in your raven costume, standing inside the crumbled ruins of a citadel, perched on what must be some sort of mountain or something, because through sort of broken, malformed windows, you can see what appears to be a winter valley outside. And there are torches on the outside of this citadel or castle between the windows burning. This is a sort of a gray, kind of colorless place you have found yourself. And you're in a hallway that has doors, closed doors on one side, these open windows on the other, and at the far end, a set of open double doors, just barely hanging onto their hinges. And beyond it, you hear a sound. Cha, cha, cha. Ah, ah, ah. You are alone. Cha, cha, cha. Ah, ah.
That's a noise to avoid. I don't like that.
and you hear what appears to be cracking twigs.
Okay. I guess Can I roll in anything to figure out what the hell I should do?
And anything.
You can make an insight check.
Okay.
I'm
Here
quick to
goes.
panic and roll in anything.
14.
With a 14, you can only gauge that some force has brought you here. Something has brought you here.
I figured.
And it's not a world that you know. Like when you look out through those windows, you see mountains that are far too dark and far too sheer to be found in any normal world. And this wasteland, this winter wasteland, seems to be absolutely devoid of all life. There's something about this place that feels vaguely familiar. You know you've never been here before, but something in you has been here before.
Okay. I guess so. It's just there's pretty much doors, and that's like
there's closed doors on your right side and open doors on your dead ahead of you at the end of the hall, and it's through those doors that you hear the crunching of twigs. The other sound that you hear, this sort of echoing, seems to be coming from outside the citadel.
I am going to go toward the scary sound.
Okay, the crunching of twigs, like through the doors?
Yeah.
Okay. When you go through the doors, you see a room.
Carefully.
Yep. Make a stealth check if you're trying to be quiet in your bird costume.
Okay, cool. Ooh, 19.
Yeah, you sneak into that room, a room that is in such a horrible state that there are huge gashes in the pitched roof where shingles have fallen away and rafters have splintered. And you see a few stray black birds flying in and out that look clearly like crows to you. And on the far side of the room is what appears to be the shattered remains of a big round window, which used to have an iron frame in it. That frame kind of reminiscent of a sun symbol, but it's old and rusted, and there are no panes of glass in the window anymore. But silhouetted against that open window, you see a figure that at first looks like a crone or a woman wearing some sort of robe, but as your eyes adjust to this dark, dilapidated room where all the furnishings have just collapsed into piles and heaps of rubble, you can see that it's not really a person at all, but what looks like a nest that has taken on a humanoid form, like a living nest.
Ew.
And there's just like a dark opening where the face should be in this walking nest.
Oh, gross.
Do I have like any inkling what that is?
Make a religion check.
Oh boy. Yep. Okay.
Intelligence if you don't have a religion skill.
That would be a 9.
Okay. No, you don't know what this is. But in the second it takes you to consider what this might be, you see that it is gone from being 30 feet away to being 5 feet away.
Oh! Hi!
Out of this dark hole where its face should be, suddenly hundreds of birds fly out.
Just in my face?
Just sort of in your face, like blasting past you, tearing at you with their wings and such as they blast by. And then as they exit, she holds up its hand. Looks like it's made of twigs, but it holds something up and presses it on your lips, and you realize it is a desiccated black human hand that's been severed at the wrist.
It's really just oh.
And as it touches your lips, a voice fills your head and says, Jagakari. Keep it. Let it clutch the chalice.
Come again?
Jagakari.
Okay.
Keep it. Let it clutch the chalice.
Same.
What do you do?
Question of the day. What can I do?
Well, you're standing in front of this figure, and it's holding up in its twig arm a severed, blackened, desiccated human hand. One finger, probably like the middle finger, outstretched and just sort of petrified there, pressed up against your lips.
Do I take it?
Do you?
I'm like, thank you.
Yes, you take the desiccated, severed human hand. And then the pile of sticks in front of you that has a humanoid shape collapses into a heap.
Do I still have the hand?
Good question. I'll get back to that in just a minute.
Ah!
Diath and Strix. You see as the light washes through you, the sunlight of dawn completely consumes Evelyn, and you can't feel her hand anymore.
Ah!
But the pain and the suffering that you have felt these last few days is all but gone. And you can see Van Richten has fallen over and is lying on the floor, either dead or unconscious. You can't tell.
Good.
Uh-oh.
And Paulton is gone.
Oh! Is Evelyn gone too?
As the light sort of tapers down to normal, you realize the two of you are the only ones in the room, and the glow that surrounds you seems to bleed out until only the rings around your finger are glowing. But it's a dawn glow. It's a very warm, comforting glow, and the rings continue to glow. You can see Evelyn and all of her remaining clothing and the gold ring she was wearing are gone. The beer is empty.
The Strix will just rifle around all the stuff. Just like on the table. Like, it's gotta be here somewhere. Where'd she go? Maybe she's down here.
Strix, what happened?
I don't know. Can I do an Arcana check?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm just still screaming. I don't know. 18.
You believe that Evelyn has been spirited away into the afterlife, into the light.
But her body's gone too. Okay, so apparently she's dead, but her body went too, which means she just went to another plane, which honestly is fine. We can go get her. It'll be okay.
At this point, Jasper kind of bursts into the room with Waffles because he's heard you screaming, sees the chaos, but doesn't know what to make of anything. Evelyn.
Yes.
You, after being flung away from the darkness that was the soulmonger that was trying to claim your soul and deprive the Morning Lord of your presence. After being flung away, you find yourself kind of in light for a moment. This blinding light. No sign of the crow, no sign of your morning glory, no sign of anything. And then the light sort of gradually turns to a sort of a soft night darkness around you. And you hear snoring.
Lathander! Lathander!
You hear yourself talking, and you suddenly think somehow Paulton has saved your life, and you're alive, but you've just been asleep. You open your eyes.
Yes, like one at a time, very slowly.
As you open your eyes and you look about, the first thing you see on the floor in front of you is Paulton, dressed in his bird costume, lying unconscious on the floor with a severed hand.
That desiccated black one?
And desiccated black hand in his sort of claw glove clutch. And he's lying there on the floor, all of his feathers kind of splayed out around him. And you instantly realize that he was the raven that freed you from the soulmonger. And as you look farther into the room, you see in the dim light tables and shelves covered with toys and gizmos, and a sleeping old dwarf passed out on sort of on a table and on his stool. And as you look down and look at your hands, you see that they are crafted out of gold, metal, wood, and other pieces. And that's where we'll stop. And that's where we'll stop for the week.
What? I knew it.
This is insane. This is insane.
Oh, okay.
And as you sort of look over against one wall, you can kind of see this stained mirror on the wall. And as you kind of look at your reflection, it looks almost exactly like you. Like it's not crafted in Simon's likeness at all, but in yours.
But like a metal, like robot Evelyn.
Yes.
Like Mecha Evelyn.
Yes.
What?
With like golden locks, the whole bit.
Evelyn is shocked, and she's looking at her own hands and opening and closing them. Like when she first saw Paulton, she went to like hug him, but as soon as she saw her hand in front of her, she stopped and was like stopped by it.
Yep. And it looks like the scale is the same as, like, you're the same size as you were relative to him and everything else around you. It's just you are crafted. All right. So just so you know, guys, I hate to do this to you, but we're not playing next week because several of the Waffle Crew folks are headed off to E3. And we have Origins on the heel of that. But we will be back the week after that to pick up more or less where we left off.
I sent the letters that Evelyn gave each of the characters to all of your guys' Twitter DMs.
Oh my god!
So you guys have those.
That's
I have
amazing.
an announcement. I quit.
What a creep! What the? What a weird little dude!
You saved my life, Paulton.
Oh, but for
maybe,
what?
kind of.
You totally did.
I think. But where's my body? I liked my body.
Oh.
I can't.
Oh boy.
I can't.
We have 2 weeks to think about what horrors this is going to involve.
Okay.
All right. So we'll see what happened to Evelyn's body will be a question that will be answered in the future. Other announcements. Origins is next week. I'm planning to be there. Chris Lindsay is planning to be there. A small group of folks will be there. So hope to catch you there. And other than that, I hope many of you had a chance to watch the stream of Annihilation. If you missed it on the weekend, it is now up in archives on Twitch and in various pieces on YouTube for viewing. So feel free to help yourself to checking out that. There's more than enough games that happened in the stream of Annihilation. I'm sure you'll find several that you like. And any other announcements before we part company?
What meaning have announcements in this world, Chris Perkins?
Okay. Hey guys, if you're going to be in Fort Worth, Texas this weekend, I will be attending A-Con, and it would be great to see some people there. I'm sure there will be lots of questions.
Nice living people.
I will see you guys there.
I'll be at Origins too as a goblin. So look for Look for the goblins at Origins. It's going to be a goblin. Can't talk as a goblin, so don't ask me any questions.
So any other announcements before we skip off? Do you have your Misclicks game tonight, Anna?
Yeah, I'm gonna go play another game of D&D. Just no big deal. Just get into another character right now. It's gonna be fine.
Great.
Yeah, I'm playing that on Misclicks right after this, and then I'll be at E3 starting Sunday, and I will be there throughout the entire week hosting on Twitch. So twitch.tv/Twitch, the official Twitch channel. Going to be tons of all the press conferences are on there, all the game releases, and I will be there having a good time and trying not to think about being a robot construct undead live. I don't.
Technically,
I will be sending you the current things that you gain as a construct, so you have that information for the next time we play.
I'm a construct.
Is she a Warforged technically or not?
You have no idea. I can't say more.
No!
Of course.
Cool.
I will say also in terms of announcements, the Stream of Annihilation was defining for all of us. It was amazing. And all of the video from that is on this Twitch channel in videos as well as on the YouTube for Dungeons and Dragons. And I highly recommend watching that and all of the sessions, but especially Misclicks Risen is one of the sessions that I'm a producer for. And I'd love it if you check that out. I think it was really good. What about you, Jared?
Well, go to the Dice Camera Action subreddit. I'm sure there'll be a new thread on there saying, how many tears did you cry? And then we can all collectively answer all of them.
Yeah,
we got a fancy new banner up there with some cute art.
Yeah.
But that's all.
I was going to post the letters on the subreddit, but I think you guys should be the stewards of them. You do whatever you want with them, whether you want to post them or save them for role-playing.
Okay.
And one final tidbit, since you will have to wait a week before we figure out what happens next with this particular situation. But the next episode we play will also reveal something from DS past. So what's that?
Shit's getting too real.
Dieth inherits responsibility.
Yeah. Yep. So big things are afoot as we rapidly approach the end of season 2 of Dice Camera Action.
Oh my god.
Remember when this was about giants?
Can we go back to the Giants?
Remember when we once had brunch?
We're not done with the Giants. I'm just saying.
Oh.
My eye is twitching so hard right now. Oh my god.
All right. Auf Wiedersehen, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
See ya.